Okay, we are live. We are live again. Let's get the music going. There we go. There we go. And tell the Discord crew I'm online and on camera. Great. You're there. Hi, Saul. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Adjust my microphone a little bit to hear me better. Oh, man. Well, it's what, July the 3rd. And there's a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And we'll talk, of course, like every stream, we'll take any questions people have. And who knows, we could talk about other topics as well. But there's one in particular I wanted to talk about, which is about Windows. Photo editing again, you're doing a lot of that. I don't think I've not really edited photos in a long time. I've only taken like photos of tablets and like removed dust, but I haven't done like a real photo editing in quite a while. I think part of that is because cameras, and when I say cameras, I mean phones, have gotten so good with their automatic choices. I rarely need to do anything for, photos of people anymore. I'm not saying everyone would feel the same way, but I don't do a lot of things that people need photo editing for, that I need photo editing for. Anyway, what was I talking about? Windows, and what is the topic? You're starting to enjoy it? That's good. That's good, so. There's some changes afoot in Windows. And Microsoft is adding features, updating things. I think we get the sense that they are improving Windows to respond to a lot of pent-up feedback. Right? That's been going on for years. And, a great example, and we'll talk about some other specific examples, but one of the examples that comes to my mind is a feature that they implemented recently called, it's like performance mode or something. It's supposed to change, and I don't really know what it does, to be quite honest, but it's supposed to change basically how many CPU cycles, I guess, are assigned to your apps. In some way, maybe it's a temporary thing, but it makes apps more responsive. At least it seems to. I have it installed on my Windows machines, but I don't know if I've really noticed any difference, to be quite honest. And there's some other features that they're adding. If you were watching, I think, Build last month, or was it the month before, they're adding new commands, Windows terminal stuff. I mean, just whole host of things. And again, and Build is a developer conference, so a lot of the things they talked about were oriented toward people who were technical or developers. But it gave me an idea. It sparked in my head some thinking around how Windows has evolved for people who are doing creative work. And for the time being, I'm just going to talk about two-dimensional creative, where people use Krita, Clip Studio Paint, not really focus so much on audio video production, though it can be related. I'm talking about the people who use Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint and Krita, and maybe even apps that are roughly in the same space, like Concepts, which is not really a drawing app, but something, again, it's next door. Even maybe whiteboarding apps. There's that space of, you have to draw something. Hi, Camilina, good to see you, as always. So, when I see Microsoft now apparently focused on improving the Windows experience, here for a few minutes? Okay. Well, even if it's a few minutes, it's awesome to have you here, Camilina, as always. So what came to my mind when I'm hearing this news is, first of all, fantastic. I'm a big believer addressing the problems and the feedback people have. And it seems for a long time, Ranger Fade, oh, good to see you. I'm playing Mocharia in the background. I don't know, I'll look that game up. I don't know what it is. So it brought to my mind, there are things that, and I am not necessarily the most prototype, I'm not the perfect example of someone who does creative stuff. Oh, Kaninia, good to see you. Happy Friday. But I have my opinions on what Windows should do. And I hope you do too. And that's what we want to talk today, is just think about, if we could give feedback to Microsoft. Again, I'm going to focus more on visual 2D type things. Maybe we do a little 3D, but it's visual stuff, not less audio, video sort of things. What would we want changed? Because I think there are things. Now, maybe they are very esoteric things. Maybe they are things that are unique to certain workflows we have. But I think they are important, and I'd just love to discuss them. I've got my list, and I'm hoping that you all will share a little bit of what you think in response to that list, and also share some ideas you've had. I think for a long time I've had the sense that, listen, unlike, what I was going to say. A lot of YouTubers have opinions on Windows, but now you're talking to somebody who actually worked on Windows, so that's a little bit of a benefit. And so maybe a little bit of perspective. I mean, not super recently, but in the last, I want to say, in recent history, right? Like Windows 7 timeframe, right? So Longhorn, Windows, that kind of timeframe. So I certainly was part of evolving it as a program manager. And my features weren't super UI heavy. I mean, they were UI heavy, but they were kind of very admin focused. But some insight I may be able to give you is what makes it complex, how UI gets implemented in some sense, how hard it is actually to do it. For a long time, Windows it has changed, but I don't think we've seen what we would say are big improvements. When I say big improvements, I know that the Windows experience does change quite a bit, but it can change in ways that affect some people's lives, but not us. It can become more stable, and it could become twice as stable, and you'd never notice it. Because I know you're not going to believe it, but it is very stable, actually. And of course, we've had a lot of things that maybe have not been good for us, like Windows' incessant need to, I don't have a better word for this, advertise to us, which I do not like, right? It is an irritation at the very least. So let me get my documents here. I did a little bit of research and note collection just to get my thoughts together about what has happened recently, and then what could we think about. Now, since I work on drawing tablets a lot, I definitely have feedback about how drawing tablets, and by extension, creative applications, can work better on Windows. Oh, and I see Adam Duff has a video. Let's just take a look. MemoDraw has posted it. I'll take a quick look to see if I want to bring it up on the stream. It is called, here, let me show you. One day ago, okay. So we'll take a look at this during the stream, but let me show it to you, if I can. Is it this? Yeah, you should be able to see it. If you're not, yeah, there we go. Okay, right? Yeah, you can see it. Are digital art tools that are seriously changing the game for pros, not sponsored. So we'll take a look at it. Oops, it's gonna look crazy, huh? Okay. And, I see we have some comments here. Kininya says, the customizability of Linux desktops is appealing. I'm genuinely not sure how much more Microsoft UI can tweak in comparison. It's a good point. It is, when you're building something that's a UI, there's conflicting theories. And it's not that one is right. But they're just different ways of thinking about it that are in contention. On the one hand, you want to give people every option, meaning just more features and more tweakability. On the other hand, when you actually observe what happens with people, here's some things that happen. First of all, people just get obsessed with tweaking, and they spend all their time tweaking really fine-grained things, and they can get distracted by that and not do what they actually intended to do. I've been guilty of that. That's why many businesses, they disable your ability to tweak windows, because you'll just spend all day tweaking windows, right? Tweaking the background. Another thing that's on the other side of that is the more options you give, the less predictable what is going to happen becomes, the harder to figure out why there's a problem, because you have to ask people. There's a general school of thought, which I more or less subscribe to, which is if you design it right, you'll need to give less options. That's not always possible, right? So there's that dilemma in tweakability. Also support, like when a customer has a problem, anybody has a problem, and they can customize the operating system, support has a harder time helping them, because they're like, well, this person might have changed how things work, and now we have to figure that out. Here's another case, documentation. If everyone can tweak how something looks, the documentation can look really different for people. I'll give you an example of this, which is not really tweakability, but it gives you an example of how weird this can be for people. I know many people who speak a foreign language. In this case, it was people from Germany. And I can't say that all of them felt this way, but I did talk to them about using Windows. And Windows is localized. You can change the language of it so that it shows you all the UI in other languages like German. And same with Office is like that, right? But many of them don't do that. And the reason they don't do that is not because they can't read German, because they are native German speakers. It's because it sort of mentally irritates them to see everybody's YouTube video, which has to be in, a recorded video has to be in one language basically at any given moment in time. And then they have to map that back to the German word. And that's just, they prefer, so the screenshots don't match, the videos don't match. So it's just, okay, let's just keep the UI in English, and then, that's a kind of thing that happens. Let's see. What was the thought behind making 8? 8 was a disaster result. I had left the Windows team by the time 8 got around. In fact, I had left right after Longhorn shipped, which is what you know as Windows Vista. But I was deeply sort of keeping up with Windows, even in Windows 7. So I was very familiar with what they were doing because I had a lot of people I knew still in Windows. Here is my perception of it. Windows, okay, you can only understand this if you understand what was happening with other products in Microsoft. Windows 8 was released in 2012. Do you know what else was released in 2012? Microsoft Surface. The first Microsoft Surface was like a table, a literal table. The first one you really know about is a small little slate device. Underpowered ARM device, by the way, but it was a real tablet, right? And the idea was Windows, Microsoft always has wanted to do a tablet PC, and Windows 8 was going to be heavily optimized for this form factor. Touch is going to be baked in, you can be using a pen if you wanted to, so it just had to unify all these things. So Windows 8, more or less my understanding is its design assumes it's going to be used with a bunch of slate type devices, meaning the tablet interface, touching it with your hands without a keyboard is how you're going to use it. That's why the start menu is so big in Windows 8, because you wouldn't want a small one. Like if you imagine an iPad with a small start menu, you'd be irritated. You want to see all the icons on the screen. So that's what happened. Ranger Fate, same. I'm Japanese native and I prefer to keep my language. Okay, interesting. For some reason, program-wise, it just seemed clean. I get it. I'm a little surprised, Ranger Fade, because I know that languages like Japanese in their written form can convey a lot in a small space. So I always was intrigued by the fact that, I always thought that in Japanese and other similar, I don't know what you call it, language with similar orthography, that people would prefer to have their own written characters. So it's interesting hearing you say that. I would not have suspected that. And for another reason, which is, as I understand it, design, meaning like use of typography, is very different in Japan than in United States and in Western countries, relating to, again, how words and characters are written and how they map to concepts. The example that I was told once was, well, they don't need icons. So people who speak, or who are reading in Japanese don't need icons as much because their characters can say their characters can occupy the same space and give them all the richness, even more than an icon would. So they need that less, right? I think it has to do with the programs I used are technical. Okay. And typically to learn technical programs, usually developed by Americans. Okay, I get it. You don't expect me to figure out Gaussian blur, but got it. Maya, Photoshop, etc. I've been noticing on YouTube, I'm seeing a lot of people say the word, which drives me crazy, Gaussian. Because I say, of course, Gaussian, because his name was Carl Friedrich Gauss. So I say Gaussian, not Gaussian. Gaussian sounds not bad. It's interesting. I would have never guessed someone would say it that way. But I hear it a lot, Gaussian. I guess it sort of matches words like Russian with the two S's. Anyway, okay, let me find that document. Let's talk about Windows. Stream. Come on. Oh, is my Synology drive not syncing? Let's take a look. Status abnormal. Come on. What? Oh gosh. Sometimes I swear. Hang on. I've got to look this thing up from. Okay, I'm gonna have to open up a web UI to get this document. Hang on. Richness. Good question. So what has been the biggest gripe people have had about Windows 11? The ones I hear, I would say in order that I actually encounter them, are performance, especially for games. People tend to tell me Windows 10 is much better, more performant for games. So that's a very common one I hear. I'm not a big gamer, so I don't pick up these things, right? The second piece of feedback I hear a lot, which I also have myself, is its obsession with directing you to Microsoft properties and to the web. So a great example is when, and I think they have gotten a bit better at this, but if you're searching, if you type the Windows key and start searching, let's suppose you're searching for a Wacom, right? Because you have the Wacom drivers, you want to open up the Wacom Center or Wacom tab of properties. It used to be like, you want to search Wacom on the web? And it's like, that's the first result you'd get. It was like, oh, here's Wacom. Like, I can't say that's it's a bad idea, but it certainly doesn't match the way I behave, which when I search for something, I'm searching for a document or an application on my computer. So I think they've toned that down a little bit. Related to that, Kenina's actually got it here, is ads, right? And she's got two things. I'll talk about both of them. So ads is a complex, we have to break apart what ads means because it can be used in different ways. Not all of them are traditionally ads. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to tell you my story about Microsoft Office and what was his name? There was some executive VP of Microsoft Office, Steve Sinofsky. And I tell the story all the time because it tells you a perspective that was, I think, popular in Microsoft. I certainly had it, which was when Office comes up, someone once said, oh, why don't we just tell them, like have a splash thing that says, try this new feature out, try this. Here's a deal on something. And Steven Sinofsky wrote back, because this is an email, we don't listen. We're a big company. We have a lot of customers. We make a lot of money. We don't need to behave that way, right? We've already got them as a customer because they're paying for Office. We don't need to do this kind of, he didn't say this phrase, this nickel and diming thing, this kind of like aggressive marketing inside the app. It's just, and the implication of the way he said it was, it's kind of tasteless to do that. So that's my starting point. So now that you know that, when there is a desire among teams in Microsoft, because they're measured this way, for people to use their feature. Of course, if you ship a feature, you want to get people to use it. So you have to tell people the feature exists. And Windows has a lot of features. How do you tell people your feature is there now for them to use? So fairly or unfairly, when Windows starts, it might prompt you saying, check this out, because you want to use it, or maybe some other app will. Is that an ad? Not exactly. I mean, because we're telling you there's a feature available, you should probably try it out. That's not, at least it's a reasonable thing. I'm not saying it's not irritating, but that's one kind of thing that might be called an ad. I wouldn't use that same word. There's another thing which is like, okay, it's not really a Windows feature, but it's a Microsoft thing, and maybe you have to pay for it. So an example would be in Windows, it might prompt you or show you like, oh, Microsoft Office is here. Why don't you sign up for a free trial? That's more like an ad, right? Or it might go even further because Microsoft Office is used a lot, and say, hey, here's another app we just introduced. Try this thing. Like that comes as an ad. I can understand why people are irritated at that, right? Let's see, we've got lots of feedback. And then AI, yeah, that was the other thing Kenny just said. Look, let's just be honest about it. So I own several PCs that are called Copilot Plus PCs, okay? They have an NPU. So there's a couple of things that happen. Number one, at no moment has any Copilot feature done a good job for me. It's supposed to have some kind of noise reduction feature. Doesn't work well. It's supposed to be able to live transcribe audio, like if you're watching a YouTube video or just a MP4 file. It's supposed to be able to like hear the sound through that you're sending and show you the words. Awful. Does an awful job. And I have higher end Copilot Plus PCs. Awful. It was supposed to generate images. The images look awful. It's just awful after awful. Recall, which could be interesting and useful for people were super concerned. So now, fast forward, 2-3 years from the introduction of Copilot, I never use it. I don't want to use it. It hasn't added any value. I am totally willing to use it if it added value, because I use a lot of AI. I pay something like $300 a month to use different AI things. For some reason, Microsoft can't convince me to pay anything for Copilot because it doesn't add much value. Claude adds a lot of value. ChatGPT adds a lot of value. Cursor adds a lot of value. Copilot, not a lot of value. Will they add value one day? I'm sure of it. Listen, that's something Microsoft will definitely do. But when you have all this push for AI features, and the AI features are everywhere. There's AI features in Notepad and Paint producing bad output. There are a couple of things they do that are nice. I can show you an example maybe later, but leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And it ruins the Copilot brand. Let's see, and Kenyan said, my biggest issue has been updates quietly resetting my preferences. That's a huge irritation. And it never follows directions. If I tell the PC to restart, it shuts down. And If I say shut down, it will restrict. No, I have not seen that, Kaninya. I have not. Ranger Fate says, oh, and for some reason, MS likes to render pictographic language like Japanese, Chinese, Korean in full width alphabet. It will force render them in English. Yes, I've seen that. I was heavily involved with the display of text like Japanese, Chinese, and Korean, and we saw that all the time. We saw that and it's so irritating. It's so irritating. I was working in email and we saw it. It's like looking at everything but rendered in Korean. Yes, it's awful. Let's see. Kanina says essentially it's not letting me control my own PC. MS does. Yeah, the loss of control is not a great feeling because you paid a lot of money for your PC, and it's yours. I mean, you bought it. You're the one running it. What claim does Microsoft have to control the experience? So people sometimes like to talk about social contract, and I think this is an interesting one. The social contract is broken. It is my PC. I decide what I want to do with it. You, Microsoft or whoever, you don't get to dictate to me how I'm going to use it. Okay? It is for me to decide. And for some reason that understanding has been lost about how it's supposed to work. Hang on one second. I'm trying to get that document. My Mac is having problems with the getting to the NAS. I can't believe it's having a problem getting to the NAS. Unbelievable. We'll have to solve that some other way. Let's see. Hang on. Let me make this window a bit bigger. Okay. Ranger Fate says, exactly. If I bought Office, it means I trust you to do your fullest. Stop selling me. Yes. No one wants to be... Look, we're already in a business relationship. I pay for Office, okay? The idea that you're trying to just keep on getting more out of me is very distasteful, okay? Like, I don't object to the idea of ads. Show an ad on YouTube. Show an ad, in the trailer to a movie or something, before the trailers to a movie. Show an ad on TV, which I never watch. But in the app, no, not acceptable, right? It again just diminishes the value of the brand. I understand sometimes they want to tell you, hey, there's a new feature you should try, because people say, that's, again, I don't necessarily consider that an ad. It's trying to just, hey, there's a new feature. But especially when you have to sign up for it and there's a trial and maybe you have to pay for it, very distasteful. Kenina says the last time I used Microsoft Office was 2008. See, I still use it, but I'll be honest, I use it less because my needs for it are quite less. I'll give it a perfect example. I don't like to type a lot because my hand hurts. So I am always doing voice dictation. Am I still using Word? Yeah, of course, but I'm not typing in it. And I do ask Google to take the transcript I wrote and clean it up a little bit. Not rewrite it, but if I say it removes that, right? Or if I say the same thing 3 times, it'll take the last one because I'm doing multiple tries. It can be smart about that. So that means I write less in Word because my writing tasks require less handwork. I think they just need to put these offers up front I think they need to not put these offers up front. Instead, it should have been more adaptive. Let's try to. Okay, Saul says, what's an NPU? So let's back up and we'll get there. So originally all computers had just a CPU, right? They just do the compute. And then, I'm simplifying, then they have the GPU, right? That does the graphics, and it's dedicated for graphics, so it's just much faster. You want a GPU, sometimes now GPUs are embedded in the CPU, but that's a separate topic. And then for AI, so AI requires a lot of parallel tasks, okay? You could think of that as like a lot of special kind of math. That isn't exactly like GPU stuff, and it's not general purpose stuff like a CPU. So they created a special chip or a part of a chip, which is the NPU, which handled what they called it was neural processing unit. And that's where the AI brain was supposed to have sort of surplus ability to take these special AI tasks. They do require some special stuff. But the NPUs on these computers are not that powerful. So the NPU, even if the idea is good, they could never give you anything interesting. So you might as well have not had an NPU because nothing you could do with one was really special. Now, maybe that's changed, but I haven't seen it. Ranger says, yeah, NPU is a fancy way of saying they build an LLM into this. Yeah, that's a fair way of putting it. The version of Windows I've liked are 2007 XP. Yeah, I would agree with you. Those, I think, were the best versions of Windows. So, I don't know if everyone remembers this, but in the 90s, actually, I'll find a picture because you deserve to see the picture for this. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to change what's on the teleprompter. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to show you something in a second, which is the Windows 95 launch. Okay. And it's important to see this. Just some photos, right? And this is a classic one, actually. Give me a second. How do I show this to you? I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. So I just looked at Google and said Windows. Look, it says 95 launch. It's funny that the phrase 95 launch means Windows 95 launch. So I'm going to type that in. So this is Bill Gates on stage. I joined Microsoft in 96, so I missed this by a year. But I just want you to take a look at this. And the interesting thing is the vibe, okay? This is from Rare Historical Photos. And look at the title. Remembering the hysteria over Windows 95 launch. So back then, this was at midnight in Sydney, Australia. But this was true everywhere. There were news stories. People were waiting in line outside stores, not even dedicated Microsoft stores, just software stores, to be the first. They wanted Windows 95 so badly. I mean, it was a party atmosphere. I remember because I was in grad school then. Everyone was so excited for Windows 95. So this was the first time Windows got. We can look back at it and think, wow, how primitive. But it was the first time Windows got good. Then was XP was just a huge change in the experience. 2000 was super solid. 7 put it all together. Like 7 was basically the first time it all worked well. Right? I loved 7. 7, I would agree, was great. 8. It wasn't for me. It was for slate devices. I didn't like it. Then there was what? Vista was before 7. I don't think people liked it. I think it was the timing was off. Okay. 7 was good. 8 people didn't care too much for. 10 was okay. I liked 10. I mean, I had a better experience with it than other people, but lots of people hated it. Now they love 7 compared to 11. 10 compared to 11. Kenny says, I had the shutdown restart issue on both my desktop PC and laptop. Definitely Windows 11 thing. Interesting. I rarely got a blue screen in 7. Same here. Windows, so let me just give you a little bit of extra information here. So in Microsoft, basically you have not everyone does this. I'm not even sure many people in Windows do it. But in Microsoft, you can run, because I'm talking about a 30-year history of my presence there, it gets a little complicated. So I want you to just pretend like this. You as a Microsoft employee can run the version of Windows that everyone has, like out in the world. You can run also the version that the Windows team has produced today, okay, or last week, something like that. You can even run the version you build yourself, okay? So the different versions of it. And then there's sort of a version which is bigger than the Windows team that you can try. That's like for our Microsoft, but it's kind of a beta version, right? Or, it's for internal testing but everyone can try it. So Windows 7 was the first version of Windows that I used, the beta, and it was rock solid. Like I didn't get any blue screen. That was the beta. It was so nice, so well done that it felt ultra stable, and I had super high confidence when they were going to release 7. So I used the beta for a long, and betas are normally considered very risky, but I thought it was super stable. Ranger Fate says, from him to MS, you need to mind your own fucking lane. True. That is absolutely a true thing. This almost sounds, yeah, it does sound like a Rossman quote. Ranger Fate says, Louis Rossman is my favorite raccoon. I remember Ranger Fate said that. I go, why raccoon? He goes, do you know who that is? I go, no. And I looked it up. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because I guess he must not get much sleep, so his eyes are kind of dark. If an application has ads, I won't use it, period. Yeah, I don't blame you. It is insulting. It is insulting. Again, when you're paying for something and then they want to advertise to you, it's like distasteful. It is very distasteful. Let's see. I don't play games because of ads. For example, I pay for YouTube for no ads. I do too. I think it's well worth it. I stopped using Twitch because of ads. I will either pay to avoid or simply not use a product if ads are involved. I hear you. I totally agree with you. Despite all the hate I give to MS, I can respect the fact they try their damn best keeping even the tax return in 19.5 you made. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Backwards compatibility is a thing we Microsoft focus on. To be honest, maybe we should focus on it less a little bit because the world has evolved, right? There's new hardware, there's new scenarios, new things you got to think about. If this was Mac, they'd keep you hostage. Okay. Linux can't even guarantee they can do it without a lot of work. I want to love Linux, but the problem is there's so many choices, it's hard. There's the different distros and different desktop environments. It's like, and different ways to install. Like, okay, well, you know, if I had to use Linux, I would pick Mint, Linux Mint. Or Zorin is the other one, I think. Because it's most like Windows. I mean, it just has a Windows feel. Side note, I heard Windows 98 was the worst. Why? I'm not sure. I would say it was to me, I thought it was an improvement over 95, but I just thought about 98 as, I don't know, I think in my experience it was about the same as 95, maybe in some ways less stable because things were changing. It didn't get good again until XP. XP was based on 2000, which is when a rock solid, because 2000 was based on Windows NT. Oh, ME was the awfulest. Yes. I think lots of people hated ME. Absolutely. I think it's called what? Millennium Edition? Let me double check on that. It's been so long. Windows... And what did it stand for? Millennium Edition, yeah. Released September 14th, 2000. Yeah. Did you know Windows in XP, they introduced a dog? I forgot what they call it, but when you're searching for something, a dog would appear. I'm not joking, by the way. A little like yellow, like a Labrador dog, cartoonish dog would like search. I'm not joking. I gotta show you this. I think it was XP that introduced it. Let's see, hang on. Windows, I think it's XP dog. Dog search. Okay, hang on. People do not believe me, but you gotta see this. Hang on. There was a dog. You'd have to disable the dog. What do I want? I want to go to this. Yeah, here we go. So these are actual dogs. So I typed in Windows XP dog search. This is the dog. And you can actually see it right here. So I don't know the language here, but look, that's it. Right? Did its tail wag? Yeah. So this is when you tried to search, this dog would appear talking about what you wanted to search. I mean, I thought it was cute, but it just took up space, was distracting, so I disabled it. One of the first things I did to disable it. I don't know if anyone who keeps it on. I'm sure some people did, because they thought it was cute. But yeah. That was like one really weird feature of Windows XP. I think it's worth trying Linux Sol if you have a spare PC or something, one you're not going to use for serious work, just try it out. Zorin or Mint, Zorin or Mint, either one I think is a good. Zorin probably is even the easiest of the Linux distros to try. Like, it does look a little different from Windows, like you'll know it's not Windows, but it doesn't look so different that you'll be confused. It'll feel more or less normal to you. Okay, let's see. What do I want here? Give me a second. Let me go get my laptop, because this Mac is having problems with the notes. So I'm going to go get the notes, which is on my laptop as well, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, and I got my Samsung Galaxy Book. Is it a 6 Pro here? Let me just log in, and let me open up. Gee, where's my? Oh, there's my water. Kenyinya says, I was leaning toward CachyOS for desktop gaming PC until there was a major vulnerability to the Arch user repository. Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. Mint is probably the safest. I think Mint prioritizes stability, so it's a good choice. The only problem with Mint is I'm not totally in love with the green everywhere. It's okay, but it also has, I mean, I've used Mint a lot, but it just has a very 90s design feel. Sorry. Right? Or maybe 2000s design. It looks like I'm using Windows 2000. That's both a compliment and a criticism. Okay? Zorin looks more like more modern. It's just a styling thing, just coat of paint. Okay, let's see. Where are my notes here? I'll project it from my laptop. That'll be easier actually. Synology drive. Stream. Come on, man. What is going on here? Status abnormal on demand. Hang on a second. I gotta look at this with my glasses. Okay. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Give me a second. I'm going to transfer through OneDrive because my Synology NAS is having a bit of a problem. Okay, we will get back there. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. I think I've got it now. Let's see, middle monitor. then I want the teleprompter to do this. Okay, I think everything will be good in just a second. There we go. Close this, and let's check my... I'm just gonna read out the things. I don't think it's not so interesting to see. Let's see, and the comments. Ranger Fate says, in 2 years I used Mint, by the way. Mega Obese cornering me for using Mega Obese cornering me for using Windows. I used Mint, by the way. I don't think everyone knows about the I use Arch, by the way meme. It took me a second to recognize the parallel. The trick will be to try and set up a dual boot on my 2012 MacBook Air of Linux, Zorner, Mint. And yeah. Good luck with that. I don't even know if that's... MacBooks don't... They seem hostile to dual booting. I think it's difficult. Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes here. Like, what are some of the things that Windows has improved? I'll just go through a couple of them, and I think... Windows on ARM, yeah, I think that's a big improvement. Windows on ARM I have a Windows ARM laptop. The battery life improvement is really there. Compatibility needs work, right? That's a big one. The Windows performance mode that they added. I think, to be quite honest, an irritation that I have is the entire tablet problem. Tablets are a mess on Windows. Because we have the Windows Ink API, so to speak, or the WM Pointer API, probably more accurate, and then WinTab, and they interfere. And when you use a tablet, you can't just plug it in. You have to install a driver. Yeah, it's a mess. And the built-in drivers don't give you all the features you need. So we'll talk about what might be better there. Or another problem with Windows is you get these little ripple effects, like when you're tapping with the pen just once, you get this weird little, either a big white circle or this little weird kind of bunch of water ripples. It's not fun. It's common to run Linux off a thumb drive, so it should be not too bad to do it. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that kind of live booting. What's another thing that I think in my notes here? Color management, I think, is real tough. It's real tough on Windows. It's real tough for someone like me because I'm not a color management expert, or not even a novice, really. I don't know what's going on. But I know this, lots of people are struggling with it. And what they're struggling, I'm not talking about professionals, I'm talking about end users who are like, why do my two monitors not look the same? Why does my pen display look different from my laptop? Explaining that and telling them how to fix it, or at least making it better, is complicated, right? Let's see. Ranger Fate, to serve, madam, or any of your preferred distinguished recognition for your information, I use the Linux distribution, which is known for KISS principle, or commonly referred to, or of one commonly referred named Arch. Kenina says, Fireworks going off now because we're expecting storms tomorrow. Oh, really? Okay. I can hear them popping off the neighborhood. That's so funny. I hadn't thought about that until you mentioned it. Normally, I would hear fireworks. Now I haven't heard anything. Maybe it's just not dark enough. It's still very bright outside in Seattle. It's only 8 o'clock. It doesn't get dark here until way past 9. Like I could take a walk at 9:30. Totally fine. It would only be like as if slightly dim. So anything with like color management, ICC profiles, and I can show you an example of how just awful it is to experience it. Give me a second. Where's mine? Look, I'm just showing this to you to just let you know I don't understand what any of it means. Okay. Okay, let me close some of these apps here. Display settings. Okay, we're showing display settings. Seattle is what most Americans like to think the country actually is. I don't know. Isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, Keeney says sun just set it like a half hour ago. It's a blessing and a curse that it stays light so late. Because sometimes you just want it to get dark, and it just is not getting dark. But don't worry, we have lots of very dark days. In the winter, at 4:30, it's pitch black, right? I mean, it's very dark even at like 4. Let's see. So I'm about to show you what's on oh, sorry, no, not that. Whoops, don't worry. It's okay. Okay, there we go. So you're looking at Windows 11, and this is actually pretty nice UI. It's when you want to deal with color. I'm gonna click on color profile. Okay. What is this? Right? You can't, and you're duplicate. Okay, I won't duplicate the screen because it's telling me it can't do anything if I duplicate. Fine. I will stop duplicating. So let's go with this and say extend. Heat changes. Let me just identify them real quick. Yeah, okay. So click on this number 2, which is what you should be seeing. Now watch this. I'm going to click down on color profile. What is the color? I don't even know color profile. I mean, I'm trying to talk like a normal person. What is color profile? Select the display to change its settings. Okay. And then, what's color? Now they switch to color management. There's a big dock here. Automatic color management. Well, if it's automatic and it's better than normal, why is it that I have to turn it on? Okay, so that's like a mystery. Here's how to turn it on. Why don't you just turn it on for me? Is there a negative to turn it on? I don't even know. And what's a color profile? Don't know. Again, I don't really know, to be quite honest. Add a profile. Add an SDR or HDR profile. How is a normal person supposed to figure this out? I think a normal person might even fool around with this and be like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I'm trying to click here. Like, what am I supposed to select here? See, it's just totally unclear, right? Or display color calibration. I'm going to click it. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm seeing. God damn it. Okay, here we go. Sorry. This is what I'm talking about. It says select a color management, and you go to this document, which open up another window. Like, what is this? Why do I need to focus? Why is that doc interesting? Let me change the resolution as well of this page. Oops, I moved the display. I meant to scroll it down here. Actually, let me do one more thing here, which is to change my middle monitor. It'll be a bit easier for you to deal with. There we go. Now I can see a bit better. So I'm going to change this to like 150. It should be easier for you to read as well. Okay, great. So when you go down here, oops. And you scroll down, what are you supposed to do with color profile? Determine how colors appear on my screen. They don't match my other monitor. That's my number one problem. Colors on one screen don't match my pen display. Yet this is never discussed here, right? I'm sure this design is very good. It doesn't solve the problem that my community experiences. Let's see. We've got some comments. Let's take a look. Real quick, Ranger Fade says, I hate the WinTab key mode. I'm not sure what the usage. Let's just see WinTab. I'm going to do it on this other machine. You know what? You got a good point there. like I'm an alt tabber, so you're not seeing it. So I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to switch my display settings around. I'm gonna change the primary monitor. Let's see, this one. Okay, yeah, now you should see it. Okay, so just for range of fade, for everyone to talk about, know what range of fade to talk about. Here's WinTab. So hold down the Windows key, press Tab. You get this switcher, right? It comes up, my hand's off the keyboard, and then I get to pick. So I'll pick Claude. Okay, that's one kind of switcher. WinTab again. There's also different desktops. I never use the desktop feature. Now Alt-Tab does this. Now, if I let go, it'll switch, right? It's not persistent. But if you want a quick switch, Alt-Tab is so much better. WinTab doesn't seem to offer much value. I'm sure there's a good reason it exists, but I'd agree with you, Range of Fade. What is up with it, right? I've already got, so this is WinTab, this is Alt-Tab. Why do I need both? I don't know. Kenina says, I associate, here, let me take my screen back to normal here. I associate tech with Silicon Valley in California, not Seattle. Seattle, I think of Brain, Coffee, Frasier. Yeah, those are fair. No, I don't think Frasier was actually ever filmed in Seattle. We just said. Silicon Valley is now hell on earth, now in comparison to the glorious 90s. Is it? I have not been there since the 90s. Last time I was in Silicon Valley was in 97 for some conference. WinTab, oh hi Nick, thanks for joining us. WinTab is a slower version of Alt-Tab. But there's, yeah, it does feel a bit slower. Could be an accessibility thing, Kenina. Yeah, that's a good point. Because like when you swap the desktop to it, also removes whatever on the second screen. I've tried desktop, just so everyone understands, I've tried using different desktops. I always get super confused on what these desktops, I know some Linux users, I think, use this often. Maybe Mac users do. I don't think Windows users use this very often. And I would be considered a power user. And I've tried this. It never sticks. Like, it always gets me more confused than less. Even though in theory, there are many situations I thought, oh, desktops would help me. And every time I've used it, I find it's just getting more confusing to me. By the way, there used to be a much better Alt-Tab, which I'm going to try to find for you because it was actually pretty cool. Let me see if I can find it. Windows 7. Was it Windows 7? Oh no, Windows Vista Alt-Tab. That's when Alt-Tab was crazy look. I mean, good looking. But let me just show you. This is Windows Vista. Okay. So we'll just let it play here. Watch this. I miss this. Okay, so there's Vista or Longhorn. Look at all the glass, right? Pretty interesting. Let me turn off the subtitles here. Okay. This was a shock to people, right? Because this was after XP. Okay, let's wait for him to Alt-Tab. Okay, so there's one kind of tabbing. I forgot which did this. I think maybe this was Alt-Tab. Okay, so this is, I liked it, looked cute. Nothing unusual about it, just lots of glass. Let's wait for him to use the I think the WinTab. When I say WinTab, how about the Windows key plus tab? No. There we go, look at this. So, okay, let me talk about this. This is actually interesting. I think I've told you many times that there were demo videos of Longhorn showing like how amazing a Longhorn would look and how graphically rich and really different from XP. Like people would be shocked at how rich and filled with glass and color and light. And almost every idea from Longhorn, those designs just went away for various reasons. We got the glass, and the only, I mean, I could be mistaken here, but the only other feature which had some semblance of that richness maintained is this switching feature, right? Now you're noticing in the video, by the way, Let's go back there again. Watch what happens during the tabbing, okay? Like how it moves, right? It doesn't look very smooth, right? It looks a little chunky. Part of that is probably YouTube. Part of that's probably his recording software. But I will say from my memory, it looked better than what you're seeing, but it still was not quite buttery smooth like you'd see on an iPad, okay? Yeah, I did not like Vista that much. I mean, here's the truth. I worked on Vista. I worked on the firewall. By the time Vista came out, the first thing I and a lot of people did is just turn off those effects, okay? We turned off all those weird effects and we just used it like it was Windows 7. Like we immediately turned off transparency, right? So, and for us, in a lot of ways, Vista didn't have these kind of dramatic overhaul in the look for us because we turned it off. And you could almost convince yourself you were still in Windows 7 land for a while. There were, of course, differences peaked out. Yeah, that's the slideshow one you were thinking about? Yeah, that was actually Vista. I don't remember if Windows 7 had it or not. Twisted Apex. Have you seen the new animation app, Omupin? It's an optimized version of Adobe Animate with 3D camera raster. Okay, let's take a look. That's what we can do, right? That's what we can do here. Let's see. I want to get here. UMO. It's a little bit confusing to spell. Umupin. Omupin. Is this it? Okay. Actually, let me just type it in the Google search first. UMO. Animate and draw. Animate and draw. I've not heard of this, to answer your question. Latest version 9.3. So it looks like it's coming to a 1.0. Here's a screenshot. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay, here we go. I went to the website. This is the website. I'm going to say Omupin, since I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. There's the frames, I guess. Features, vector and raster drawing. Advanced, let's see, draw with pen, eraser, sure. Draw with raster brushes, editable vector strokes, good. Use the same selection to transform colored layout tools across both workflows. Very good. I like to see that. Advanced drawing options, pressure, tilt, spacing, smoothing, stabilization, overpaint, underpaint. Okay, all good. Fill flat colors and gradients with gap closing. Very important. Okay, I'm liking the feature list. This is, it released today, Twisted Apex. Interesting. We'll try it out. Copy, distort. Okay, good. Layers, thumbnails, opacity, locks. Okay, all good stuff. A gallery with reusable assets. To me, what I'm reading here sounds very much like a Clip Studio Paint. Very similar to Clip Studio Paint. Docked panels, toolbars, frame by frame, plus tweening, storyboard and sequencing. I don't do animation, so I'm just gonna go through it. Timesheet, import, exports. 3D reference. This sounds a lot like Clip Studio Paint. Effects. Endless canvas. That's not a Clip Studio Paint feature. Online sessions. That's definitely not a Clip Studio. Okay, we got to try this out. Let's try it out. To make it easier for me, I am going to get a tablet, I think, and I'm going to get a mouse. Okay, so give me a second. That'll be easier for me to try it out with. 1 second. Okay, I am back. I've got a Intuos Pro Medium 2025 edition here and a mouse. Let me do a little plugging in here, and we're gonna try this app out. It's for Mac OS and Windows, so we should have a pretty easy time in case one of them gives problems. Kenyan says Calipeg is coming to Mac. Someone sent a link in the Discord, and I know I've heard the name before, but I've never actually used it, so I'm curious about that. Okay. So, do I have the mouse working here? No. Hello, mouse. Why aren't you working? What? Let's try a different technique here. Give me a second. There we go. We get a mouse now, finally. Okay. And the pen does work. Do I have my driver installed? Or the older version of OpenTablet Artist is actually running. So let's just go ahead and take a look at it and make sure everything's working correctly. PTK 660, make this absolute display mapping. I want to refresh this actually. This should be giving me two different screens. I may need to restart it actually. Give me a second. Stop, daemon. Quit. And let's restart. .NET 10. I gotta get the driver, right? This is an older version of OpenTablet Artist. Okay, maybe this will still work, we'll see. Does the pen work? How about display mapping? Apply mapping. It's got the mapping all wrong. That is just weird. Okay, there's a bug here actually. That could be because it's got... Okay, we're just going to do what we can. And we'll see how that works. Let's see. Let's go to Omupin. Let's see. Twisted Apex says... Xenophos, good name, is the developer, did a 3-hour video talking about development features. Okay, I'll take a look. I was just talking today and I said, hey, look, we're going to see an explosion. I mean, my context was vibe coding. I said, we're going to see a lot of apps by... Oh, it's for Mac OS, Windows. Oh, the trial is here? Okay, sure. Let me just try the trial first. Extract it all. And let me put, to prevent you from seeing just boring stuff, let me just put my face on there and we'll get back to that. Oh, it doesn't look like there's an installer, it's just an app. It's not signed. Okay, here we go, sorry. Here we go, okay. Create new file. Drawing, book, animation, and online. So we're gonna go to drawing, not animation. I'm gonna pick A4, I guess, and there we go. Okay, first of all, mouse zooming works fine. And I can't use the pen, the pen is not correctly mapped. I'll give it one more try to do the mapping, but it is not doing what I expect. So there's a bug in my thing here. Why isn't it doing? Okay, I do want to use the pen, so let me try one more option. I'm going to switch tablets. Be right back. Right back. Okay, I am back. Kenina says, I've done very little animation over the years. I've debated picking up Moho, but it's pricey for something you might not get into. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Let's see if this does any better job. I don't think it will, actually, but it's always worth a try. PTH 660, apply mapping. It just isn't, it's steadfastly refusing to, I think it's actually got a little bit of a, no, it actually, the mouse is almost in the right place. Well, this is why we get bugs, huh? Apply mapping. Okay, I can, it's a mess. Okay, I'm just gonna use the mouse for this, sorry. It's unfair for you to have you help me debug a tablet driver problem. Okay, so first of all, I like the look of this. It, again, to me, it reads as a Clip Studio. I don't mean this as a limit to diminish it. I like what I'm seeing here. It seems fast. I'll just draw some quick strokes here. Just to get the feel of it. It has per stroke undo history. There's layers on the left. I can create a vector layer, a raster layer, a camera. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna undo that. Control Z. Control Z worked. There's another kind of paint here. Let me add a new vector layer actually. I'm gonna draw this one in red. Slight bug there. I'm clicking down and moving, but it should be, it's drawing after I let up. So that seems like a little bit of a bug. At least with that kind of brush. Let's see if we have vector erasers. Click erase. Oh, we do. We do have vector eraser. Do you see that? So that's cool. It's erasing. Let me lock one of these layers, see if it actually obeys that. Yeah. Okay, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'll definitely spend time with this. Thanks for bringing this up. I'm always more than happy to try out different apps to explore what is available. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Let's go back to the dock here. Animate and draw. Features. Anything else I missed? Is there any way to learn about who did this? Designed to take advantage of full capabilities of modern computer. Okay. No, I like it. I like it. This is great. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, let me get back to Windows here. And get my... So, what are some other things that I think are really important that I think I notice things that are tough with Windows? I feel like Windows does not do a great job with file formats. Like someone who does a lot of like Clip Studio Paint and PSD, I think they may support PSD previews now, but something about it just feels like there should be an easier way for me to see previews and images, right? That is always... Let's see, that name is the name of the developer YouTube channel. Got it. Didn't want to drop a link. Got it. Xenophos. Yeah, it's really cool to see it. again, my initial few minutes using it, just it feels fast. I feel like that's definitely true. Surprisingly full featured. I mean, I did vector layers is hard to do, and they have it. Lots of stuff they have actually. It might be something. I think if people are concerned about clips cost, it might be something people need to investigate. So I will do a dedicated stream on that because I think it requires one. I want to get my pen working before I do that. So another thing I think Windows struggles with is dealing with versioning, right? So how many of you save, like image1.psd, image2.psd, and like, I wish there was a cleaner way in file systems to handle that. I can't really criticize Windows too much because I know it's a difficult problem. I worked in file systems as well. You don't necessarily want a file system that is like getting that complicated, but I can at least the need. I hope they appreciate the need. One of the suggestions that I wish Windows would have is a universal driver for tablets. So basically, let's talk about the vision, right? I should be able to plug in any drawing tablet, even one made in the future, and it should, as we say in Microsoft, quote, just work, right? Pressure should work, tilt should work, the buttons should be able to be mapped. I should be able to assign to different monitors. I shouldn't have to deal with force proportions. I should get high resolution coordinates, not just screen coordinates, if that makes sense. Should not require reboot or any installation whatsoever. Like I shouldn't have to put any file on the computer, no matter what it is, to work. It should just work. Now, if vendors want to add additional software that gives pretty UI, they should be able to do that. But that would make Windows a better place to be. One of the things I notice from people is they go to school and they are not allowed to install whatever they want. They can't. For let's example, your school might use a Wacom tablet. You get a Huion. You can't use it because they're not going to let you install random drivers. They're just not going to, right? So I think that's important. From the developer end of it, well, honestly, and maybe this is a controversial take for those of you who might know, Windows Ink versus WinTab is not just an app choice. Using them as developers is very different. And I think Windows WinTab is actually easier in a lot of ways, believe it or not. Even though Windows Ink is supposed to be unified and good, it's easier to work with WinTab, honestly. Oh, Ranger Face says file rename PowerToy. That should be built in. Yes, that should be built in. Yeah, it should be much better to rename files. This reminds me of another need I have. Sometimes I want to rename files by what's inside them, right? Or at the very least, a classic example. I take a picture of an object, a photo of something with a name. I almost want like the file name to reflect what the photo says, right? I know, esoteric feature, but there is some sort of AI connection that I'd like. Another suggestion people have come up with is, I don't know how to say it. So there's things like game mode, right? Which do certain things if you're playing games, I guess reduces distractions. One idea is a creative mode, right? Disable notifications, maybe boost up the priority of certain things in Windows to reduce latency, right? Maybe give it some kind of higher priority with the GPU, I don't know. Maybe put you in a mode where you have more choices about the color profiles that's used, right? And maybe even control the sounds that are going on so that you're focused on creative stuff, not every other thing. So I don't know, again, this is just an idea. It's just not creative mode. Maybe creative mode turns on your favorite background music, right? So you can just have the environment you want. Let's see. I do think, this is a little esoteric. So we have Windows Paint, MS Paint, which is, let's bring it up. Let me show you. Explore the all new, huh? Okay, sure. Let's ask Windows Paint to do something. Let's just see how. It's got the Copilot, right? Sticker generator, co-creator, creative erase, or generative erase. This is a decent app, but the fact I'm drawing with my hand, with, the touchpad. The strokes don't look good. They're not anti-aliased. I think that gives you a negative feeling. Now, sometimes you want this look. It's a classic look, but I kind of feel we could just do better, right? I don't even know why it starts erasing now. That's weird. I don't know. Suddenly it just started erasing for no reason. Let's do the Copilot thing. Image creator, watch this. Let's see, it'll refuse. AI model is required to use image creator. Okay. Sure. It's just installing some model. You're not seeing the UI. It's downloading 1.2 gigs of some model. We'll see. We'll watch what it refuses to generate. The last time I tried this, I said, or one of the times I tried it, I said, generate a picture of George Washington on a horse. He goes, oh, I can't give political figures. I go, this guy died a long time ago. And it's like, nope, you can't do it. It's almost about halfway there. Nick says ACDC now has a bunch of AI. I've never used that app, Nick. It can detect faces, subjects, generate some tags, and I hate all of that. I don't know. I like the idea of object segmentation and detection images because you can do things like you take a photo of something and you want to move a tree away. That's kind of useful, honestly. Or in my world, I also did a lot of screenshot editing, and sometimes it'd be nice if the AI could recognize its screenshot and say, look, I need to just change this text. Because I'm not really photo editing. I'm just editing some text could be a meme, could be in a UI mockup. I think it's okay to talk about those features as being interesting. Okay, that get installed? Yeah, it's installed. Okay, let's try this. Image creator. Okay, didn't get the warning. Watch this. Oops, I'm typing in the wrong window. George Washington on a horse. That's it. Nothing controversial, right? Let's see what it does. It might generate, it might not. We'll see. Something went wrong. Try again later. Let me close this. So it's still spinning. I'm going to give it a minute. But if this is my experience out of the box with Windows, why would you bother using this feature? ACDC is the biggest app for managing images on Windows, Nick says. Oh, I did? Oh, you know what? Now that you said that, I do recall the name of this app. Yeah. I haven't heard someone mention it in quite a while. Okay, this looks like it's just not working. Let's try it again. This time it's trying. Let's see, does it do the request? Surprisingly, it actually did a decent job. I think he's a bit big for the horse, which it did this before as well. And it gave him a mustache, which he does not have. He looks the proportions I think are off, to be quite honest, of him and the horse in relation to him. Let's add it to the canvas, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's try this. I've got another idea. The text, 7 pens, in a 3D word art. There's an old way of showing some word art style. Word art is an old tool in Office applications that let you create really bad looking text. Let's see what it does. Okay. 7 pens. So it got the text correct. It gave it a 3D style. I'm actually surprised it got this much. Let's add the canvas. Okay, so it did that. It's actually not bad. And let's use another Copilot. Not bad. Let's remove background. Let's see how. Not bad. Honestly, not bad. Now, do I think this is the best looking thing ever? Let's see. At least it did not download hentai AI model. Well, we'll be thankful for that. I mean, I could see people. Let's zoom in for the quality. Still not bad. It does not do a good job of removal to deal with this issue here, right? The border, but that's okay. I mean, it's acceptable. Now let's see if it does something controversial. Okay. This is my classic. This is one I always ask it. Peepo. It will not do what you think it's Peepo, the frog, riding a bicycle. Now the question is, does it know who Peepo is? And will it draw, a frog, a cartoon frog that's a meme frog? Most of the time, I will not get anything nice. I'll get a random frog, not Peepo. If I type Apu, it will generate Apu from The Simpsons, which is understandable, but not what I want. Even if I say Apu the frog, which should be a well-known meme. The text, let's see, even inside the text, lines are rough. I'll take a look at that. They are a little rough. You are right. Yeah, they're not even. You're right. They're not even. I think even the letters aren't even the same height, by the way. It's a little hard to tell because it's kind of curved. I mean, there are things about this I like, don't get me wrong, but on close inspection, can someone tell it's AI? Probably. At least I would say there's something wrong with it. But I like the look overall. Okay. So when it refuses to do something, it'll just say something went wrong, try again. We're going to try again. I think it actually refused me, but we'll try again. It did the same thing with George Washington, so it might work this time. Whoa, it actually got something kind of correct. That's not quite a Peepo, but I'll take it. No, this is actually not bad. And let's, it's picking a certain style. You see, it's giving a texture I didn't ask for. I'm not complaining, I just didn't expect it. Almost like a paper texture. Let us remove the background. And let's remove George. Can I remove George Washington? Or is he locked into the image? I don't know, actually, if he's locked there. This zoom, by the way, is very rough. It's just very jumpy, not a good design. Okay, I guess it's just lights. I don't think this has layers, does it? Let me click the layers and see. No, it doesn't. So it does have layers. I didn't think about creating layers when I created this text. Anyway, sorry, I got a little distracted. I think this is an interesting blend of trying to keep it simple, but adding all this Copilot stuff. Is it working? Better than I expected. Do I see myself using this for real? No. No. I definitely should have used layers, Nick. I definitely should. You're right. I forgot it had layers. What I was thinking early in the Discord, by the way, was this relates to vibe coding because I'm doing a lot of vibe coding. I said people can expect in the future we'll see a lot of vibe coded creative apps, and people said, it's just going to be too much. But then, and that's fair. And yes, will it be slop? Yeah, sure. But I also think it's not necessarily bad. I think there's lots of very specialized cases people need where instead of you using Clip Studio Paint, you will just say, hey, look, make a vibe coded app that just helps me draw birthday cards, right? Or get this, you may even create an app for a specific set of material for a specific event. Like, oh, I'm going to set up a birthday party. I want an app that leads me through the process of creating invitations and, I don't know, placeholders for people where they're going to sit at a table, or whatever, a nicely printed menu, that kind of thing, or some just take some old photos and create a collage, right? I could see people create vibe coding for themselves an app just for one purpose. They'll never use it again. I do think we may end up in a world like that. Will we have apps like Clip Studio? Sure. You may have an app that has just its only purpose to help you draw a kind of some ink-like strokes, and only in a certain style, and only for like 3 hours, and then you'll never touch it again. That could be an interesting place to live in, right? You live in this kind of world. Okay, let me just take a look at anything else I want to talk about with Windows. I think we covered the major things. Yeah, I don't think there's too much more I wanted to say. I'll write down some thoughts and think about it. Let's go watch Adam's video. I think that is something people did mention. Give me a second, let me open it up here. And, oops, am I typing in the wrong place? Oh, I am typing in the wrong place. Let's see. Oh, I created a new window. You're seeing something I didn't intend for you to see. Give me a moment. Let me change what's in my middle monitor. Okay, there we go. Now let me fix this. Something is being shown. There we go. Okay. Now what do I want to do? I want to show another screen here. And we got to see if this actually works. Because I don't know, honestly, if the audio will come through. So this is going to be a little bit of a test. We got to see if this works. Adam Duff. So I'm going to take... It was a video today, I believe, or yesterday. Game changer. Okay, let me just turn it on.
Hey guys, it's Adam from Loose Pixel, and today I want to...
Okay, hang on. Let me turn off the music for a second. And then I just gotta make sure the audio works. And if it doesn't work, I have another way of showing this to you, so not a worry.
Show off.
So
I want to promote and glaze a couple of art products for digital artists, mostly, that I feel have been transformational in my career as a digital artist who's been doing this for close to 30 years, close to 3 decades. Note, these companies don't know that I'm promoting these products. There are no affiliate links, no sponsorships. I'm doing this pro bono for them, so you're welcome. And note that some of these products aren't the cheapest products on the market, but I personally feel... Hey guys, it's Adam from Loose Pixel, and today I want to show off. I want to promote and glaze a couple of art products for digital artists, mostly, that I feel have been transformational in my career as a digital artist who's been doing this for close to 30 years, close to 3 decades. Note, these companies don't know that I'm promoting these products. There are no affiliate links, no sponsorships. I'm doing this pro bono for them.
Okay. There's an echo that I hear. I'm not sure if you hear it, but so it's a little complicated. But transformational. Okay, so we should be in for a treat then.
So you're welcome. And note that some of these products aren't the cheapest products on the market, but I personally feel that they are entirely worth every penny because of the value, the long-term value that they have brought me in my art. I'm in a particular position, being an art YouTuber who's done this for over a decade and a half, that Gets access to everything from the most high-end flagship stuff down to the most entry-level stuff out there. And very, very rarely do I encounter a product that really, really changes the game and kind of changes my whole perspective of digital painting products out there. And the first one, that might not come as any surprise if you've seen any of my other review videos.
Okay, let me pause there, because this is worth talking about. This is absolutely worth talking about. I love the Tourbox. If I start drawing and I don't have it around me, it just feels weird to me. So huge. I totally agree with Adam. It's transformational. It is a bit expensive, let's not lie. I think it costs about $250. There's a smaller version called the Tourbox Neo, which is still relatively expensive. I've tried it, but I still prefer the big one. But I've used one now for like, what, 4 years, 5 years? Love it. I absolutely love it. Hi, Bitterbun. Hi, Bitterbun. Okay, let's play.
Is the Tourbox. There are many accessories out there for artists that are kind of keyboard shortcut replacements. Huion makes them, XP Pen, ZenSlabs, Wacom, etc. They've all kind of come out with their own. And I've tried them all. But when I first unpacked and used a Tourbox, when they first sent me the product for review, within 10 minutes of using this product, I mean, opening it up, setting up some keyboard shortcuts and working in Photoshop with it, I knew I had a problem, because my first thought was, holy shit, this was easy to use. This was incredibly intuitive, because everything's basically set up like a video game controller. So you just need muscle memory. You don't need to actually look at the product, which is usually something that slows down your flow. This one, your hands know where to go automatically. But my first thought was, shit, I don't want to have to develop a dependency on this because it's so good. I don't want to. I'm perfectly fine. I've been working with a keyboard my entire life, working professionally, and you still can. This is not a necessity as far as products go, but for the type of artwork that I do, which is digital painting, not so much line art, it really sped my process up by at least 50%. And it's small, and you can tuck it away anywhere. You can take it on the road, depending on how you work. And it's such an easy, excellent product that I'm amazed.
Okay, a couple of things I wanted to point out there. Number one was, it sounds like Adam was able to immediately get the benefit of it. That was not my case. It took me about, I think, 9 months to get used to it. In fact, I gave up, I think, 3 times. I couldn't get my hand to stop moving to the keyboard. Okay? So it was very difficult for me to use it. In fact, I think the first 2 times I forced myself, and I was like, I'm not getting any value out of this. And my hand was always moving from it to the keyboard. After the 3rd time, again, it took me over 9 months. I wasn't using it the entire time, but I was, let's say, using it for a couple of weeks, giving up. Using it for a couple of weeks, giving up. It was the 3rd time I was like, okay, now I got this. And what made it work for me was deliberately not giving up, because my hand would move off, was forcing me mentally to do it. And also I had to really customize how Clip Studio Paint shortcuts worked. Once I had the exact customization in Clip Studio Paint and in the Tourbox, I 100% can feel the same way Adam felt, where it sped my work up by 50% at least. Okay, it is a big reduction in time and clicks. So I definitely agree with that. I would say I have developed a dependence on it. It feels weird if I don't have it in my hand and I'm drawing. It does feel psychologically weird not to have it. So that that is either a positive or a negative. Positive in the sense that, oh, I really need this. Negative in the sense that it almost feels like a real dependency, right? I will choose not to draw if the Tourbox is not around. That's the effect it has. But it was well worth the money. I do agree it was well worth the money. Okay, let's fix the audio and let it play again.
Nobody thought of before. What do I love about it? Number one, setting it up and using it is right away. When you open up the software and you want to set a keyboard shortcut, you just have to actuate one of the functions on this, whether it be turn or press or whatever, and it immediately finds it in the menu. You set your keyboard shortcut and you're good to go. So it's very, very fast to set up and edit. You can use it anywhere. It's not just for Photoshop. You can use it in any app, painting or otherwise. I use it in Nomad. I use it in Photoshop, Clip Studio Paint, Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, Safari, Google Chrome, whatever. You can set keyboard shortcuts for anything. And because it's so intuitive, because there's so many different types of buttons that work pretty much like a video game controller, your hands just know where to go intuitively, and it immediately makes that process easier. Bluetooth connection, flawless. Battery life, fantastic. Build quality. I've put hundreds of hours into this thing. It still looks like brand new. I can't glaze this product enough. And yes, very sadly, I have developed a dependency on this, both on desktop and on mobile. Note, there are a few different versions of this product depending on your needs and depending on your budget. The entry level one is the Tourbox Neo, which I reviewed. I've actually reviewed all of them, so if you just look up Lucid Pixel Tourbox, you can find all of my reviews. The Neo has less buttons and it's wired only connection via USB. Then you have the Tourbox, more buttons. Tourbox Elite, which is Bluetooth, and the Bluetooth connection is flawless. Never had a single issue with the Bluetooth connectivity in my particular case. And the Tourbox Elite Plus.
Okay, I did want to talk about that. I've had less luck with the Bluetooth, and it could just be me, but I just wanted to be, clear on the experience. For me, the Bluetooth did two things. Sometimes I couldn't get it to connect. Could have been my computer, so I don't want to blame the Tourbox. The other thing is, so in order to use Bluetooth and to be wired, it's wireless then, right? Why would you not use it has to have a battery, right? So it does not have a rechargeable battery, which is either good or bad depending on point of view. You actually have to put 2 or 3 like AA's in there or something. And it may have been something odd with the batteries I picked, but I did feel like it didn't hold the charge long. It could be because I didn't turn off the wireless connectivity. In other words, it's constantly doing something. I'm not sure. I just felt, though, that I did replace the batteries, and it felt like within a week I ran out of battery. So that was my experience. I should try it again. So when he says the Bluetooth was seamless and lasts a long time, I didn't have that experience. Does not matter for me because I prefer wired anyway, but I just wanted to share that with you.
Which is the only one that works for desktop and mobile. And that includes iPad or Android tablet. Okay? So you have those different options and they come at different price points. They do go on sale. Check it out. I don't have an affiliate link for you today, but just keep an eye out for sales and stuff like that. I think it's worth every penny. Who is this not for? I find that artists who do more line art, like I the other day, Emily was working on a cartoon and I gave her one of my tablets to work on, and she didn't really see a use case for it because she just picks a line size and draws her whole thing with it. In my particular case, I'm constantly dynamically changing sizes because I paint digitally. So I'm constantly changing the thickness of my pen and I'm constantly changing settings. So for somebody who doesn't change settings, you just kind of plug and play, then this might be less useful for you. But if you're more into digital painting like me, try it. You'll see. It's pretty freaking awesome. Okay. Speaking of...
Okay. That was an interesting comment. I'm a little surprised. Let me tell you something. I almost 99% of the time I'm doing line art. I think it works great with line art. Okay. So for him, it sounds like the utility of the Tourbox is a lot for him around changing settings of the brush he's using. For me, the utility of the Tourbox, and remember, I do have custom mappings to the actions. The utility of the Tourbox is, so there is one way in which I'm changing the brush, which is the size. Okay, so I'm changing the current brush size. And I tend to draw not with a lot of variation in lines, so it's not, it's more of a thing I have to have, but I'm not changing constantly. The things that I more do are zoom in and out of the document, do that all the time, and changing the brush or changing the tool. So I'm just making up a number here. More than half of the value of the toolbox is changing tools and brush size. What do I mean? So I'm drawing on a vector layer, okay? I'll draw a stroke with the G pen, several strokes. So that's one button. I switch tools to the vector eraser with another button. So then I erase the weird edges and things. And then I create a new layer with my mouse. And then I switch to a fill tool to fill in some flat colors behind, that are bounded by those lines. So even though I'm not painting the same way Adam is, I find that for line work, it is still very helpful. Again, I customized what the shortcut keys or what the buttons are mapped to and the assignments in Clip Studio. So I did do that. I can understand why someone wouldn't get utility if they're just drawing lines. But if you're using vector eraser and fills and things, yeah, I think it can be very helpful for you. At least it is for me. It is definitely a tool. I think, again, because of my experience and because of the need for customization, for some of you, it may be a tool that you need to spend time with before you decide it's for you. Yes, I'm sure there are some people who are going to use it and like within 5 minutes, they're going to be like, oh, wow, I love this. It took me 9 months, right? Like I literally put it back in the box in a couple of days originally. And then I tried it again because I felt bad wasting $250. And I tried it the third time. It's only the third time that I thought, oh, this is working for me. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's get back to it.
Tablets. That's my second product. The Wacom Moving Pad Pro 14, which I also reviewed on my channel. You can go check it out. Why do I love this product so much? Well, over the years, the only real, in my opinion, mobile tablet that I would ever consider was the iPad, which I have over here. Here's the iPad Air, the 13-inch iPad Air. I've also used and reviewed and have owned all of the iPads out there, from the iPad Mini, the iPad Air, the 11-inch, the 13-inch, the iPad Pro, 13-inch, all the way up to the highest-end M4, M5 iPad Pro with nano texture. And I've always appreciated, from an artistic perspective, all of the innovations that Apple has done over the years, including the pinch, which the pinch feature on the Apple Pencil Pro that you could use to, in my particular case, I use it for color picker, which was very useful, or the nano texture, which from an artistic perspective I love because it makes the touch and the drawing experience feel like you're actually drawing on a pen display. And it's powerful as hell, and it's extremely versatile. You got all your apps on it. I really loved it for that, all that power. And as far as what I considered the best option for mobile drawing for professional artists, the iPad was the way to go as far as that goes, particularly the larger sizes. However, the minute I got the Wacom Moving Pad Pro 14, I immediately realized I don't like drawing on the iPad. What was the problem? Well, number one, it's the glass. Okay, unless you get the nano texture, which comes at an extra expense. And most importantly, I don't like the Apple Pencil. I don't like the Apple Pencil. I don't like the way it feels. It feels like drawing with a crayon to try to do precise artwork. And the minute I got my hands on the Pro Pen 3, the Wacom Pro Pen 3, and I started drawing on this Wacom Moving Pad Pro, I immediately realized now I feel like I'm working on a professional tablet.
Okay, I thought that was a very interesting comment. I did not expect him to say that. Oh, Saul has a comment. Let me just take a quick look. I've debated about getting the Toolbox, perhaps to use in Digital Art and DaVinci Resolve. Not sure how it would work. Yeah, I'm not sure it's the right thing for DaVinci Resolve. For other digital art, maybe, but yeah, again, you got to find the right thing you're doing and the right customization. It's hard to say it's going to help you without giving it time. Okay, so his comment, I felt the same way. Like, I never really disliked the Apple Pencil. I always felt it was weird. But I will say that once I used the moving pad, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the way I want it to feel. So I 100% sympathize with what he's saying. The moving pad that's the way I want it to feel when I draw on a device like that. It is very clear. I don't mean to say anything bad about the Apple Pencil, but especially I think if you have an experience with a Wacom or any other tablet that's not an Apple Pencil, you'll get it when you use it. You'll definitely feel that way. That's my feeling. Okay, there are a few questions here or comments. For video editing, it's usually useful for cutting. This is Bitterbun. Applying filters, moving or timeline. Yeah, I can see the moving, yeah. And zooming maybe. Essentially removing the need for the menu. If you're very good with shortcuts, know everything in DaVinci Resolve. Memodraw says, I think artists with simple workflow can benefit from Toolbox or other shortcut devices. Is saving space. Good point. That is absolutely a benefit, is to keep the keyboard away. So it's just, yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. This is Bitterbun. My favorite thing of the shortcut is I set it up on Krita is moving, adding, deleting, grouping, dyeing layers without looking at the menu. Yeah, not looking is a big deal because for me, so if I cannot touch type. So if I go to either looking at the UI or looking at the keyboard, it slows me down. And with the Toolbox, I just look at what I'm drawing, and things just happen, and that just works great. Let's see. Saul says, I warmed immediately to the Apple Pencil, but different strokes for different folks. It's all good. Yeah, if you like the Apple Pencil, you like the Apple Pencil, and many people love the Apple Pencil. I don't even hate it. My background is in EMR tablets, so I'm used to the way Wacom EMR pens behave, right? I also, honestly, I do like the fact they have buttons on the pen, which the Apple Pencil doesn't have buttons, which is, to me, a bigger than any other issue with it, is that it just doesn't have the buttons. And I use the buttons, right?
And the pen design with the action buttons and everything like that is exactly what iPad is missing. If they could update their garbage pen, they would convert a lot of artists back onto the iPad. Confided, they actually do something about.
So that was sorry, I'm muted. Sorry. Yeah, I echoing. Yeah, you got that. It is. He feels very similarly, right? Like once you use it, again, obviously Saul may not have the same experience or feeling. But that's the feeling I had, which is like, oh, this is the way it should be. Apple should learn from this. They'll never will, obviously, but that was the same feeling I had. Yeah, absolutely.
Precise artwork. And the minute I got my hands on the Pro Pen 3, the Wacom Pro Pen 3, and I started drawing on this Wacom Moving Pad Pro, I immediately realized, now I feel like I'm working on a professional tablet. The surface and the pen design with the action buttons and everything like that is exactly what iPad is missing. If they could update their garbage pen, they would convert a lot of artists back onto the iPad. Confided, they actually do something about the surface as well. Now, yeah, okay, you get things like Paperlike and all that kind of stuff, but no. It's not a true pen display. It's not a pen display designed for artists. Now, it does have a default drawing app, but for me, my app of choice is Clip Studio Paint. This is pretty much a professional drawing app for artists, and I find that Clip Studio Paint works perfectly. In fact, I prefer Clip Studio Paint on mobile than I do on desktop, and I have the desktop version as well.
Let's see. We have a few comments. One was Saul. The Apple Pencil Pro does have squeeze gesture. That's right, it does have squeeze. But then again, I laugh at the fact that other pen tech is superior. And it's just because there are buttons that stick out from the EMR pen. That's all I'm talking about, Saul. Like, I like that there are 1, 2, sometimes 3 buttons, and you can feel them, right? Don't get me wrong. I would love a squeeze gesture also, but the fact that I can feel the 3 buttons and selectively press them with I think Apple has like a tap feature. I like the idea that I can feel the button there without clicking on it. And then MemoryDraw says, the first time I draw on an iPad, I struggled getting used to the large Apple Pencil tip covering my lines. That's another thing some people do not like. Trying out third-party pointing nibs introduces wobble depending on luck. Good point. Good point. Bitterbun says, I was planning on buying the Move Ink, but I didn't because of the lack of updates. Huge issue for some people. I want something that can last more than 2 years. Buying anything for me is a whole input. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Wacom has not commented much on, they said they'd release a new update. I think they did, but there's no clear plan for what happens next. And as we saw with the XP Pen Magic Drawing Pad 2024 version, what if Clip Studio Paint says, okay, well, we'll no longer support Android 14 or whatever. You have to use a new one. You're stuck. You're just stuck, and it's not going to be fun. So I sympathize. And it's a fear I have for my own moving pad.
It is fantastic. Now, what do I love about it so much? Number 1, I love the surface. Number 2, I love the wider aspect ratio. I'm much less of a fan of the square aspect ratio of the iPad. Number 3, the pen is spectacular. It is a serious pro pen. Number 4, battery life is fantastic. The weight is fantastic. The ergonomics are fantastic. I love everything about this. The only thing I would watch out for is if you need more power, let's say you do a lot of heavy work in ZBrush or Blender or Nomad, or you want to have multiple apps open. If power is what you're looking for, you might want to opt for the iPad instead, because I found that, I have been exploring Nomad. It does work, but if I have multiple apps open like Nomad and Clip at the same time, things start getting laggy. However, I've had 0 issues working on high resolution canvases in Clip Studio Paint. This is
okay. Let's see. Saul says at some point I'm gonna have to get Clip Studio Paint. Definitely try it. Remember, it has a doodle mode. You can install it, and you don't have to buy or it's not even a trial. It'll work. You just can't save. So just check it out. Bitterbun says, I don't like the way Apple Pencil does a line. It has a weird stabilization by default that makes it hard to control your line 100%. I have a similar feeling. I've never really been able to express what I don't like about the line feeling, and I can't tell if it's the Apple Pencil or Procreate, which is really the only app I use with the Apple Pencil. So I need a little bit of more investigation. But yeah, it's something feels weird. The word I've always used is artificial. Something about it feels artificial. I can just tell there's some computation going on. Whereas with the EMR pen, I don't get that same feeling. Okay, and again, it could be because I just use EMR pens for 30 years. So there is that.
It's really designed for digital artists like myself. But you do get access to these 3D apps, which work fine on their own. Do note that you'd probably want to stress test it first, as far as that goes. What also happened when I got the Wacom Moving Pad Pro 14? Getting this actually, surprisingly, made me fall in love with the iPad again, but for very ironic reasons. By choosing this as my designated drawing, painting tablet, mobile painting tablet, I demoted this to an iPad, a real iPad, meaning I don't use this for drawing at all. I never used the Pro Pen. In fact, I wouldn't even waste my money on getting a pen at all. I use this as a productivity app for I use it when I'm streaming and I want to read comments. I use it for Pinterest references. I have it sitting down there for Pinterest references, for checking out my emails, things like that. I am not at all using this for drawing anymore. This is my mobile drawing tablet. I don't like drawing on the iPad. Because I don't use the iPad as a drawing device anymore, I actually get use out of it on a daily basis. It's quite interesting. Watching movies, playing chess, watching YouTube videos, etc. That's what the iPad is really designed for, in my opinion. If they could update their goddamn pen, that I might change my tune on this. But after using this on a mobile tablet, on the Wacom Moving Pad Pro 14, I'm not going back. And note,
Okay. So it's really amazing watching this video. I may have to actually create a full video just to react to it and publish it on my channel instead of just doing the live stream. So far, Adam's experience, mostly just especially the key points, maps my own feeling very well. So just as he said, it made him like the iPad better, but he sort of demoted it in a weird way. Same exact feeling I have. I now have split my standalone world into two. I don't try to do everything with the iPad or the moving pad. The moving pad for me, sorry, it's not on my desk right now, is dedicated to be for drawing. I don't browse the web with it. I don't run Discord with it. I don't look at YouTube with it. I just draw with it. If I'm not drawing, I don't use it. Now you could say that's a waste of it or whatever. I don't think so. When I draw, I use it. That's what it's really good for. Okay, so it's in a safe spot for drawing. When I need it, I draw, and when I'm done with it, I put it somewhere else. When I'm doing everything else, when I'm browsing the web or using YouTube or checking Discord, that's my iPad. And the iPad is fantastic at those jobs. It is definitely better than the moving pad for those jobs. It's more powerful. It's got a great app ecosystem. It has a great support lifetime. We know it's going to get updated. So I am totally in line with that. They've split what I do. Drawing on this, everything else on that. Let's see, there's some comments here. Bitterbun, it micro corrects your lines. If you only use iPad all your drawing career, you would know, so you get used to it. But it does do something. I would agree. I'm not sure. I don't know how to describe it. Again, it is processing something for sure. Now, having said that, I don't know how much is the app, I don't know how much is the pencil, the iOS, or Procreate. Because there's 3 different things that could be causing this effect. But the Bitterbun says, I feel it really strongly. And I also have this weird feeling of not wanting to draw an iPad because of it. Yeah, for some people, I can totally believe they have that sensation.
That this is a fraction of the cost of the iPad, because the iPad's extremely expensive, especially if you get the iPad Pro with Nano, you're paying 1/3 the price. So how do I set myself up? Take this, I stick it on my lap, I sit with my arm resting on the table. Here's my tour box. I grab my pen, my iPad goes over here, or my iPhone, or whatever I have access to. Open this up, get my Pinterest references, and I draw, and I can screen record and do all that kind of fun stuff. I absolutely love this thing. If you're a ZBrush user, it doesn't have ZBrush yet. ZBrush is only available on iPad right now, so you'd probably want to get that instead. But there you go. There's my little glaze of a couple of products that I feel are absolutely revolutionary and worth every penny. With that said, thank you again to Wacom and TourBox for your incredible innovations, and you're welcome for the free promotion. If you guys have any questions and recommendations on products that you feel have been very revolutionary for you as digital artists, let me know in the comments below, because I might one day end up making a follow-up video to this, because if there's something that is bringing us value, I want to use my platform to help amplify their product and amplify their influence. Sound good? With that said, I love you all with all my heart, and happy painting. Take care.
As the desert train rolls by, try to make Lone Pine.
Oops, where's my audio? Sound levels, there we go. Okay, there we go. So that was great. That was great from my perspective. Oh, you didn't see what he. Sorry, you didn't see what he said. But basically, he just said it was. Sorry, I didn't see. I was not showing it to you. Anyway, he just ended the video, and I'll just put his face back on there so you can see. Basically, he ended it saying, if I recall, that he's happy to, if people have other suggestions for tools like this that are really transformative, he's happy to give some airtime to them. So what I'd say is, I think it's a really good. I feel like his video really gives you a good sense for the promise of these devices, both of them, and it's very practical. Like there's nothing theoretical about what he's saying. It's like his actual experience. And I think he captures the key points very well. He and I disagree on a few things. I mean, we have different perspectives and experiences, but overall, we both end up super positive on how well these devices work, how much value they add, and especially in the case of the moving pad, the role they play relative to an iPad, right? Let's see. Nick says Pro Pen 3 beats Apple Pencil. What a surprise. If Wacom did a normal drivers for MPP14, it can work with the PC. That is a limitation I wish they would just fix. I feel the Apple Pencil has a mind of its own when I'm drawing. This is a Memo Draw, especially more noticeable when drawing small, which is how, excuse me, hiccuping. Okay, yeah, I think I feel similarly. Nick says you can work with the ZBrush using instant display, but without driver, it's weird. Okay. I don't use that app, so I'm not too familiar. It is true that iPads can get obscenely expensive. One artist who worked for DC did a YouTube video about this. It was close to $3. That's crazy for an iPad. I believe it. It's crazy. Let's see. OMG, I might be wrong, but I read somewhere the Moving Pad Pro 14 used Easy Canvas for the PC drawings of hardware. Another reason why I back out of mine. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So if you search on the UI, you won't see the word Easy Canvas anywhere. But what people discovered is the actual code is Easy Canvas, and there's all sorts of evidence about why. What we also see though is people developing their own apps. What's one? Moonlight is one, and there's other ones. Literally on the Discord, people are building their own things to do it. So there's lots of options if you're a little more technically oriented. But that is a disappointment. Really, I wanted the Moving Pad Pro to behave just like another pen, like a Cintiq. Just plug it in and like the existing Wacom drivers would work. They just don't do that, right? Okay, let's see. Saul says, my M4 iPad Pro is a 13-inch, 256 gigabyte and cost me $1,600. But to be frank, it's not for everyone. That's okay. Whatever works best. We should always remember not everything we do or our experience is going to work for everybody, right? Which is why I think it's really important, especially as these devices get expensive, honestly, go somewhere, a retail store. I know that's hard for Wacom, but for iPad it should be easier. Try the device out. If you have a friend that has a device, try it out. If you can't try the device out, try something similar. In the Wacom case, if you don't, no one has, very few people have a moving pad, go find someone who uses a Samsung Galaxy Tab and try a similar size. Try it out, like the S8 or S11 Ultra. That's millimeters close to the Moving Pad Pro 14. Try it out. That'll give you a better idea about it than anything else. And I wish there was, more places you could do this at, but it is rare to be able to do it. Okay, let's see. We've gone on now for 2 hours. I am going to call it a stream. I really just wanted to talk about Windows, but it sounded like we actually had a better time talking about Adam's video. I may again go through his video and just do a kind of a reaction video, because I think his video is so good and it brings out so many great points that need to be some emphasis, right? So it looks like Saul says, I researched for months before I bought my M4, and that's a lot of money. Yeah. Things are too expensive, especially these days, not to spend time, because and trust me, I am the king of buying things I've been disappointed with, okay? You would not believe how much money I've spent on things that I used, and within 5 minutes, I'm like, this was a waste of money. Okay, and it's okay for me because, like, I try a lot of devices so that people will not have that experience. I'm willing to do that, but I hate when someone, for themselves, it's a big investment, or another thing that comes up is they buy it for their kids, and the kids aren't happy. It's because like a Christmas gift kind of thing. I hate that. So I try to make sure I do the research to help people avoid these things. Okay, let's see. Bitterbun says, I'm glad I got the Samsung on sale. It was closer to the MovingPad Pro 14 price. Fantastic. Okay, everyone, I'm going to call the stream. Thanks so much for joining, and I will be streaming again soon. Have a great weekend. For those of you in the United States, remember tomorrow is July 4th, 250th birthday of the United States. And hopefully, besides fireworks, you'll spend it with friends and family, and you'll have just a good time. Just relax, have fun. And I was there for the 200th back in 1976. That was a real wild ride, by the way. This party atmosphere all year. Have a great night, Saul. Have a great night, everybody. Memodraw, thank you. Bitterbun, Nick, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye. And